Talofa, Talofa, Talfalava. Maloilele, Bola, Kia ora, Kia orana. Greetings and welcome to the Tangaloa Experience. It's a broadcast from Samoan Sundays in celebration of the Tangaloa spirit. Who is Tangaloa? What is Tangaloa? Tangaloa is not a god that we praise or worship. Tangaloa is a spirit, the creator spirit of Samoa and the whole of Polynesia that was dethroned by the white god the Palangis brought. In saying that, I thank you for joining me as we celebrate the return of that spirit we call Tangaloa to its rightful designated place. You see, once the Tangaloa spirit is seated and is master of your soul and my soul, then we feel it every time when we walk on our customary land. We feel it every time when we swim in our waters, in our oceans, our lakes, and our rivers. Only then can we experience the vibration, the energy, that boundless force we call Tangaloa. Like the wind, it's invisible, but we can see how it influenced the trees in the forest to dance. It's the divine presence we cannot touch, but we can feel it. We cannot know nor understand Tangaloa, the Tangaloa spirit. We can only experience it. This Sunday, we're going to experience Tangaloa as we unveil the spirituality behind the word relationship. To understand the meaning of the word and to know the spirituality behind the word relationship is discovering Tangaloa, which in actuality is the Tangaloa experience. So once again, welcome. Also, it's a reminder about our poem competition, poetry writing competition. And it's called Fa'asinomanga Ole Samoa. Fa'asinomanga Ole Samoa. And these are the questions that can help you write your poem. What do you like about our Samoan culture? Is it important to learn our Samoan language? These are the questions to formulate ideas and thoughts that you can put into your poem. 4 lines, 5 verses in the poem. And this is a poetry competition for our school kids, for our sons and daughters in the diaspora, and also for school kids here in Samoa. On your poem, you write your name, where you live, whether you live in Samoa or New Zealand or wherever, and the school that you go to. And when you've written that, then send it over to faasinomangatrust@gmail.com. faasinomangatrust@gmail.com. And once I start receiving the poems, then I'll read them over on this, our program, the Tangaloa Experience. And like we do every morning, every Sunday, when we bring you our program, we play a song. And this is a song that I wrote for the 60th Independence celebration. And it's a song about Lawaki. Lawaki is one of the key players in the Mauapule. The Mauapule is the original Mau. And Lawaki has said many things. But there's one thing that he said, a quote that has stayed with me forever. And that's Lawaki saying, translates into English, over my dead body, someone else controlling my Samoa. So here it is, Lawaki elangona pea, sio iuleo. And that is our song, Lawaki Elangona Pea Sio Uleo. Just another reminder for our poem competition. The poem is 4 lines, 5 verses in the poem, and the thoughts that go into the poem is from answering the questions, what do you like about our Samoan culture? Is it important to learn about our Samoan language? And these are for our children, the school kids. We want you to write your name on your poem and where you live, whether you live in New Zealand, Australia, America, or here in Samoa, or wherever, and what school you go to. Send them over to fasinomangatrust@gmail.com, and I'll read them over our program every Sunday. The word for today is relationship. Relationship. Very interesting word. When I first looked at the word, it took me a while to recognize the ship after relation. Then it dawned on me there is this suffix that the language adds onto a word. And so the ship is a word that comes on. Relation is a word on its own. And then you add ship to it, and it changes the meaning of the word somewhat. For example, friend. And when you add ship, it becomes friendship. And it changes the mood of the word. Relation are people that you come from the same family. Your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your mom and dad, they are your relations. As people would say something, invitations, say, and bring your family and friends. Family is your relation, and bring your relations and friends to a wedding or to a party. Relation. So when we talk about relation between a boy and a girl, when we talk relations, we're talking about a boy and a girl in their separate bubbles, in individuals. This bubble calls this bubble, that's my friend. And the boy says, and she's my friend. But when they're in a relationship, these two bubbles seem to have burst and have come together, and now in the one bubble, the friendship. It's no longer, he's my friend, I'm her friend. No, yes, we are friends, and also we are in a relationship. Relationship in terms of friendship is the state of being a friend. Very nice, very nice. Relationship is the condition or the state of being a relative. But here again, like we do every Sunday, we bring out the wisdom of our ancestors in the words. See, relationship is the core of the Samoa. Relationship is what we call in Samoa leva. Leva. And it's the whole Samoan culture is based on two things: respect and love. And those two things are built from this word alo, as in alofa, alo, fa. We've explained it before, and we'll touch on it just lightly. Alofa means the four corners of the house. Now, the ones in the back will face the ones in the front, the ones on one corner face the other one. So they all face each other. What you see is what you get. What's mine is yours. What's yours is ours. That's the relationship, alofa. And then we have fa'aloalo, the other key element of our culture, fa'aloalo. It's two alos, fa'alo, alo. So relationship in Samoan is leva, leva. And this is the spiritual wisdom of our ancestors. See, this word they use to express and to explain relationship in Samoan, it's leva, two letters, v, a, va. But they constructed the word, bringing the first letter of the alphabet and the last letter of the alphabet, and they switched it around and make the first one become the last, and make the last one become the first. See, a, e, I, o, u, fa, up to v. And they switched it around and formed this word. V becomes the first, and the A becomes the last. And we have the word va, meaning relationship. Wait for me. I know you got it. Yeah. What it is our ancestors did that because they knew what is always in the front will not necessarily stay in the front, and what is always in the back will not necessarily all the time stay in the back. What are our ancestors trying to tell us? They're saying that a good relationship, you're always juggling. This is heavy duty stuff, man. You're always juggling. What is last? In some cases, it needs to be at the front. And what's things normally begin with, sometimes it's better if we end with it. Leva, relationship. I hope you're getting this, because I want you to understand, know, appreciate, and proud of our language, and proud of being Samoan, and acknowledge and be proud of our ancestors. Leva. They knew relationship is about juggling. They knew relationships are not absolute. Relationships also are tested many times. That's why we need to juggle. They are tested because at times we become disappointed. Something that's done, somebody's done something that didn't fly with us and we didn't accept it. So we become disappointed. And we usually go into that mode of payback. And if that person has hurt us, we'll find a way to hurt him back or her back. Then the question arises, in this juggling, leva, switching by our ancestors. Why is it that we always need something outside of us to complete us? When creation, according to the Bible story, when man was created, the God of creation looked at it and he said, looking good. Looking good. Because everything in creation, the Creator said, good, very good. But after he created man, the Creator said, very good indeed. So you and I are complete. And complete to the sense that we are like the miniature version of our planet. 70% of the planet is water, fluid. 70% of your body is fluid. All your body is covered with hair. All the land is covered with greenery, vegetation, shrubbery, bushes. You are complete. I am complete. But many a times we forget. And that's why we always look outside of us to make us complete. But we don't have to. We don't need to. At this point of our program, I just want to congratulate the Toa Samoa. Did a fantastic job. And you know, a little place here in Samoa, you can hear, it broadcast at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the screaming and the shouting, the excitement. The tapua inga, tapua inga, tapua inga. Even though they're thousands of miles away, but they always thank the tapua inga because they knew we were in the same bubble. They are our representatives in the international field of sports. And our boys always acknowledge that. The coach acknowledged that. Thank you for Samoan Tapo Inga. It's because when we go into that Samoan mode of Tapo Inga, we are no longer in separate modes. We are no longer in separate bubbles. 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, there was not a march, but what is it? All the cars drove from Tuanamato to Apia and then back to Tuanamato with the flags flying. And I'm sure the boys, you know, at the tournament saw the pictures, and it gave them a boost. And that boost is knowing of this relationship. There's an interview, Manu Samoa, when Manu Samoa beat Wales for the first time. And they asked the coach and the captain, what was different? What did you do? That, you know, you changed the course of rugby history. Is this little nation of less than 200,000 people, and everybody was asking, where the hell is Samoa? And the coach and the captain said, we took our Tapua Inga with us on the field. Because the boys, before they left, they did a wheelbarrow around Samoa. And this is the first time most of them have seen Samoan giving and Tapua Inga. And there was one case where an elderly lady, ran over because she was going to miss the wheelbarrow. So she ran over, undoing a knot on her lava. She didn't have any paper money. All she had was coins. And so she got the coins in her hand and she threw it in the wheelbarrow. And that's what these guys took on the field. That's what they said. They never forgot that woman, elderly woman. Tapua Inga. Tapua Inga. It's when those bubbles, those relations are burst and they all come into the one bubble of relationship. It's the state of being relatives. I can go on about this. David Tua, when he first fought for the championship of the world, he came over here and asked government if he could do a presentation in front of the government building, which he did 12 o'clock, and it was a half a day. And he said, all I ask is for Tapua Inga Samoa and for every Samoan to wear a ula fala, which of course everybody was happy to oblige. And he said, and let me go. I'm your boy. I'm going on that stage, that world international stage, as your boy. So at that moment, those bubbles would burst. And now there is that special relationship between the fighter and his village people. Yeah. While we're in sports, and because the mode of the sports is in the air, the first time Samoa ever beat an international team, a world-renowned team in rugby, was when Samoa beat Australia. After the game, Australia said, well, we didn't bring on our top team, we brought on our B team, whatever it is. But in history, 100 years from today, they're going to look at the record and it says Manu Samoa beat Australia. And you know that team that was coached by, and I'm happy to say, by a friend. His name is Dicky, or oh my goodness, Fuimaono Dicky Tafua. And Tafua it prides himself in saying, you know, that team, they were all Samoans, all local kids. Because he came visit with me one time, and then I raised the point in Brian Lima, Muliangatele's sevens side, says, you know, Mulianga is doing great for the sevens team. He says, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you know, the thing I like about what he's doing is all the kids in the team, they're all local kids. And I sort of rubbed it at him a little bit. And he said, yeah, but remember, the team that I coached that beat Australia, we're all local. I just wanted to hear him say it because it's so good coming from him. That's what he did. Well, because at the end of the day, it's his recommendation that counts, not the CEO. They can advise everything else, but they knew we are complete. They knew we didn't need anything outside of us to become us, to become winners. Muliangatele is doing it. Fuimono Dikitafua did it. So we don't need to go anywhere to find the formula, a winning formula. We don't need to go somewhere else to find a formula that works. Just look. Also, the team that won the tournament, sevens tournament, international sevens tournament, first one was the one with Stephen Beetham. Stephen Beetham. And it was all local kids. Relationship. When something happens to you, don't look at who did it, but look inside and rearrange and rejuggle your life. Maybe something is not happening right with you. And often we want to punish. It's not going to work, because after you do that, then a few days later you'll feel bad about what you did or how you hurt the other person. Relationship. This week, 104 years ago, in the year 1918, this week, was when the ship Talon docked the harbor in a pier. And that was the ship that brought the Famayoti, the Spanish flu, to Samoa. And it annihilated over a third of the population of Samoa. Before then, and even up to now, there is no written record worldwide that compared this atrocity to anything that happened before or since. No population of people have been wiped out. No third of a population of a nation, a state, or a country was wiped out, whether with an epidemic or wars or whatever. Just Samoa. And we hold that record. And the relationship we have with New Zealand is we always look at New Zealand as our big brother. Why? Because that's what they call us. They call them in terms of the relationship with us. Helen Clark used that. And there's that camaraderie thing about this big brother. New Zealand is the big brother to Samoa. Even though they left and Samoa became independent, we still have that dependency of the young brother to the older brother. But when the ship came in, knowingly, see, the thing that doesn't sit right with me was the ship went to Fiji, came from New Zealand to Fiji. And when it arrived, it had the flag, the yellow flag flying, which means that the ship is quarantined, that nobody from the ship was to go ashore and such, because they had the virus. And yet, when the ship left Fiji and come to Samoa, the flag wasn't flying. They knew the virus was on board. That's why it didn't go to Fiji. It didn't allow, it was quarantined in Fiji. Why wasn't it quarantined in Samoa? Not only that, but when the epidemic started to hit and people were dying, the ambassador of America in American Samoa offered medicine and medical supplies to help the people of Samoa. But something happened between Logan, the fellow that was from New Zealand looking after Samoa, happened with the ambassador of America in American Samoa. Apparently, something happened, but because of this relationship, he didn't reply back to Pango Pango to accept the assistance and the sosoni that they were offering. This brother relationship between New Zealand and Samoa, that doesn't sit right with me. And I know it doesn't sit right with you. Most of you probably have never heard this before. Yes, there was help that was offered. And this, I don't want to swear, but this thing, this Logan thing, turned it down. It could have saved lives, but he didn't. So this relationship, big brother, young brother relationship, doesn't look good. It smells foul. And it's still happening today. I watched a video, I think it was out of a university in New Zealand, and the lady was a Samoan with a PhD, and she was delivering something in the academia that were there. And she said something about this racist thing. That wasn't the topic of her, but something to do with her paper has to be not tapered down, but so that it doesn't, you know, infringe upon this very delicate thing of racism. And then the Minister of Pacific Affairs said that he experienced this in his line of work, being a Minister of Pacific Affairs. So it's still there. It's still there. And because we're in sports, I remember for a long time not sitting well with me the thing with how the New Zealand sports, they would sign up our boys and have them into the All Blacks and then tie them up. And even after they leave the All Blacks, it has to be a certain time of 1 or 2 years before they are eligible to play for their country. And that tied up our boys for a long time. Now that we've got our own team, the Moana team, some of our key people in New Zealand are saying we've come a long way. Yes, that's true. That's so true. But it's this relationship that I would like to talk about because it's still there. According to Pua Tomasese Efi, he's saying colonization is still here. It's just that it's happening in a different realm. It's coming at us in a different way. And in that sports thing, I remember because of a son of a friend of mine was signed up in the All Blacks. And he never played in the All Blacks. He only played one game. And he didn't even play a full game. He came on as a sub. And he never played for the Manu Samoa. Because when he came off, he had to be, lay fellow for a year or so. So this relationship is, it's good to look at. And it's good to juggle, good to understand, and good to know. But not to expect the change to come from outside of you. The change has to come from inside of us. How do we do that? By knowing and loving the idea that you are complete. These boys here, Samoa, that beat the Wallabies, they will remember that for their children, will remember that. And that's enough for them and for us, Samoans. The Toss Samoa now doing great. Muli Matele's sevens, Samoan 7, doing great, fantastic. And it's all relationship. Last but not least is the relationship between us here in Samoa and you in the diaspora. I visited with a friend this week, I think it was Wednesday, and we talked about, I always have a nice time speaking with this gentleman. And he raised a point. He said, did you know the diaspora? Have you ever known anybody, even you or your family, has ever said that one time out of the blue he would say, oi, kalo fai. Fai ase mengai ave o si vai ngalai o. He's talking about the relationship between the diaspora and Samoa. It is so, these are the words we use, it is so expected of the diaspora to send money that we don't even think about what they're going through, and we don't even appreciate it by saying, well, sometimes we send things when somebody from our village is going to New Zealand and they know our family, so we give them aumu to take with them, which is noble and very nice, but not out of the blue, out of just doing something and spend some money or something to send something over to them. We don't do that. And I never thought of that. When he raised this point, it really got me. And I said to him, I'm going to speak about this. And thank goodness, relationship was the topic. And I thought, yeah, let's. No relationship is absolute. Relationships are always evolving. What should be in the front sometimes needs to be in the back for it to work, for the relationship to work. Sometimes what's left to come after everything else needs to be in the front for this relationship to work. Juggling. And it all doesn't point to the person that has broken the relationship. It points to us and what we've learned from the relationship. And what happened, taking us more closer to the reality of where this world is at. Relation is two people, a boy and a girl. Relationship is the state of being a relation. Friends are a boy and a girl. Friendship is the condition of being a friend. Leva, that's the whole basis of the Samoan leva, relationship. Our ancestors given us this word, spelled with the two letters. One, it begins the alphabet with, the other is the last letter of the alphabet. But instead of bringing them in that format, they switched it around to remind you and me, every relationship evolves. And every relationship needs juggling, one way or another. And speaking about the ancient spiritual wisdom of our ancestors is the way we discover Tangaloa. And discovering Tangaloa in actuality is experiencing Tangaloa. And that is our Tangaloa experience for this week. And we hope that you have a great week this week and that your relationships at work, your relationships at your sports, your relationship in your church, relationship in your family, and most of all, your relationship with yourself is not absolute. Always need juggling and will always evolve. From all of us here in Samoa to all of you in the diaspora, New Zealand, Australia, and America, wherever you are on the face of the planet, have a blessed week and tofa soifua.